From Dream Season Central, this is Kurt Berglund with Sportspage number 11. We're doing an 18-game mini-season of my favorite teams from Payoff Pitch over the last 60 years or so. And we have completed 11 games for all 26 teams, 13 in the American League, 13 in the National League. And so, going to update you on the highlights and the scores from the 11th game for all teams. And then we're going to take a look at the standings and where everything sits with 7 games to play, a week to go in the season before the playoffs and how that looks. And things are getting pretty interesting. So, let's do the scores and the highlights first. From Milwaukee County Stadium, the 83 Atlanta Braves visited the 87 Brewers and won 8-4. You saw that game on my channel. The winning pitcher, Craig McMurtry, the loser, Mark Knudsen, and the save goes to Steve Bedrosian. Home runs in the game, Dale Murphy, a 2-run homer for Atlanta in the 5th. Claudell Washington, a solo shot for Atlanta in the 7th. And for the Brewers, Jim Gantner, of all people, hit a 2-run bomb in the 2nd, and Dale Swaim followed that with a solo bomb of his own. 8-4 Braves over the Brewers. Most of these are interleague series that are going on, and they'll continue through game 12. And then we have 2 3-game series left inside each intra-league where they're playing their I have a flex schedule going, so each team is going to play the team they need to beat. In Philadelphia at Veterans Stadium, the 79 Brewers visited the 83 Phillies. The 79 Brewers won 10-6. Reggie Cleveland, the winning pitcher. Al Holland, the loser. Home runs in the game, there was one. Mike Schmidt hit a 2-run jack in the bottom of the 8th for Philadelphia. The 9th inning was very interesting. The top of the 9th for the 79 Brewers. Cecil Cooper led off with a fly out to center. Al Holland was on in relief at this point. Then Ben Ogilvy doubled. Sixto Lizcano was intentionally walked. The score was 6-6 at this point. The Phillies had scored 2 in the bottom of the 8th to tie it up. So Ogilvy doubled with 1 out. Lizcano was intentionally walked. Then Sal Bando singled, loading the bases. Then Gorman Thomas drew a walk, 7-6 at that point, Brewers. Then Don Money singled home 2 runs. And then, Charlie Moore singled home 2 runs. Then Reggie Cleveland struck out. Then Paul Molitor singled home another run and against Willie Hernandez, who was brought into the game. He was the last pitcher available for Philadelphia, and Robin Yount flew out to left. So it was a 4-run 9th inning for the 79 Brewers to win it 10-6. Al Holland spit the bit. In Chicago at Wrigley Field, the 64 Phillies visited the 79 Cubs. 64 Phillies won 8-2. Culp was the winner. Ken Holtzman was the loser. Home runs in the game. Cookie Rojas, a grand slam home run in the top of the 1st for the Phillies. And Johnny Callison, a solo shot for Philadelphia in the 5th. There were no home runs for Chicago. The Phillies scored 4 in the 1st, and the Cubs never caught up. So that was a bad one for Chicago, but a big one for the Phillies. In the Bronx, the 64 Giants and 77 Yankees battled 14 innings. The 77 Yankees came out on top, 4-3. Winning pitcher, Ken Clay. Losing pitcher, Billy Pierce. Home runs in the game, Jim Davenport, a 2-run homer in the 7th. Mickey Rivers, a 2-run shot for the Yankees in the 5th. And then a solo shot for Mickey Rivers in the 7th. So 2 dongs for Mickey on the day. In the Giants scored a run on a Del Crandall pinch hit single in the 9th inning to tie it at 3. That sent it to extra innings. And then nobody scored until the 14th. Cliff Johnson against Billy Pierce pinch hit for Fred Stanley and singled to lead off the inning. Mickey Rivers singled pinch runner Paul Blair to second base. Roy White then bunted Blair to third and Rivers to second. And with Billy Pierce, the lefty, on the mound, Thurman Munson was up with first base open and Reggie Jackson on deck. They decided to go after Munson, and he singled home Blair with the winning run. So the Yankees 4, Giants 3. In Montreal, the 87 Tigers came a-calling, and they won 6-2 over the 69 Expos. King was the winner, Wazlewski the loser, and Henneman the save. Home runs in the game, Bill Madlock, a grand slam for the 87 Tigers in the 4th inning. Tom Brookins, a solo shot for the Tigers in the 9th, but Montreal did not hit any home runs. So the Tigers beat the Expos 6-2. In Minnesota, the 64 Yankees visited the 77 Twins, and the 64 Yankees won 6-2. Winning pitcher, Jim Bouton. Losing pitcher, Paul Thormadsgaard. Home runs, just one in the game. It was for Minnesota. Glenn Adams, a solo shot in the 8th. So the 64 Yankees win 6-2 over the Twins. In Shea Stadium in New York, at Shea Stadium, Flushing, I think that is. The 87 Cardinals beat the 69 Mets 3-1. McGrain with the winner, McAndrew the loser, Todd Worrell the save. Home runs in the game, Jack Clark, a 2-run homer in the 1st for St. Louis. And that was it. So the Cardinals beat the Mets 3-1. In Milwaukee at Miller Park, the 87 Twins visited the 2018 Brewers, and the 2018 Brewers kept it going. They won 7-2 over the Twins. Jeffress, the winner, thanks to a 5-run 8th inning for the Brewers. The game was tied in the 8th, and Minnesota fell apart in the Minnesota pitching fell apart in the 8th. Berenguer, the loser, Jeffress, the winner. No home runs in the ball game. In Detroit, the 77 White Sox visited the 69 Tigers, and the Southside Hitmen took it to the Tigers 9-4. Wilbur Wood, near the end of his career, was the winner. Pat Dobson, the loser, and Don Kirkwood, in-season acquisition from California for the White Sox, picked up a 3-inning save. I don't know. That's not really cheap. It's 3 innings, but you know what I mean. Home runs in the game, George Orta, a 2-run homer in the 3rd for Chicago. So the White Sox beat the Tigers 9-4. In Chicago at Wrigley Field, the 1969 Senators visited the 1984 Cubs and lost in walk-off fashion to the Cubs 6-5. Cubs won 6-5. George Frazier, the winner. Darrell Knowles, the loser. Home runs in the game, Leon Durham, a solo shot in the 2nd for Chicago. Gary Matthews, a solo shot in the 4th for Chicago. And Leon Durham, a walk-off 2-run shot with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th to take the Cubs from defeat to victory 6-5 off of left-hander Darrell Knowles. In Boston, the 64 Cardinals visited the 77 Red Sox, and the 77 Red Sox, behind the pitching of Don Ossie, shut them out at Fenway, 3-0. Red Sox win. Ray Sadecki was the loser. There were no home runs in the ball game. Huge game for both teams. I'll explain why in just a minute. In Chicago at Comiskey Park, the 1977 Los Angeles Dodgers visited the 1983 Chicago White Sox, and the Dodgers won. I said the Dodgers won a game 2-1. Tommy John the winner, Floyd Bannister the loser, and Elias Sosa the 5-out save. Home runs in the game, Davey Lopes. A solo shot for Los Angeles in the 7th was the only homer in the game. In Milwaukee, at County Stadium, the 69 Cubs visited the 1983 Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers lost again. The Cubs won 5-2. Ken Holtzman the winner, Moose Haas the loser. There were no home runs in the ball game. That concludes the 13 ball games that were part of the 11th game for each team. Let's take a look at the standings. What you see before you is a pretty muddled picture in the American League after 11 games are completed in everyone's schedule. Why is it muddled, Kurt? Well, if you look at first place, we have two teams tied there, both of them from the Motor City. The 69 Tigers are 8-3. The 87 Tigers are tied with them at 8-3. In second place, we have the 83 White Sox and the 79 Brewers tied at 7-4, just one game back. And then we got two teams tied at 6-5 that happen to know each other pretty well. The 77 Red Sox and the 77 Yankees have come from the depths of the American League pennant race to be tied for third in the league. So, if the playoffs started tomorrow, the top 5 teams would come from this group of 6 ball clubs, and there'd be a one-game playoff to get into the wild card between the Red Sox and the Yankees. But we're not going to need to do that, because if things stay like this, these two clubs will be playing each other in either the next series or the final one of the season to break up this tie. But let's see what else happens, because look who's right on their heels, one game back. We have 5 ball clubs, one game out of the playoff picture. At 5-6, it's the 87 Twins, the 77 Twins, the 87 Brewers, the 64 Yankees, and the 77 White Sox. All of these teams, 5 ball clubs, are one game out of playoff contention with 7 games to play. Bringing up the rear and probably out of it, the 83 Brewers and the 69 Senators at 5 games back. Now, I said just a minute ago that the Red Sox victory over the Cardinals was a big one. The 3-0 shutout by Don Ossie over the 64 Redbirds. Well, it was big for 2 reasons. Number one, it vaulted the Red Sox into a tie for third place with the Yankees. It put them in playoff position, certainly. But it also did terrible things to the 64 Cardinals. And so let's take a look at the National League. A very different layout here. If you look at first place, we have a perfect team still at 11-0, the 2018 Brewers, who basically are bludgeoning their opponents to death. Then we have a tie for second place between the 83 Braves and the 69 Cubs, both at 8-3. If you'd told me those two teams would be tied in second place with a week to go in the mini season, I would have told you were crazy. Third place, all alone, the 84 Cubs. Fourth place, we have a three-way tie, the 69 Mets, the 83 Phillies, and the 64 Phillies are all 5 games out of first, but mathematically tied for the last playoff spot as of today. In fifth place, it's the 5 and 6 1987 Cardinals, still very much in the playoff picture. But look at the 64 Cardinals. They've fallen way off the pace thanks to the 77 Red Sox. They are at 3-8, probably out of it. The 69 Expos are at 3-8, probably out of it. The 64 Giants had a little bit of a run going, but then they lost 2, so they're 3-8. The 77 Dodgers now have 2 wins on their record. They're playing for pride. They're 9 back and 4 out of the playoff picture with 5 or 6 teams, 7 teams to vault over. And the 79 Cubs bringing up the rear at 1 and 10. So, if the playoffs started today, which they don't, but if they did, we'd have the 2018 Brewers as the first seed. We would have to resolve the second seed between these two clubs, the Braves and the Cubs. And then we'd have the 84 Cubs and one of these 3 teams in the wild card game. But there are 7 games to go. There's one more interleague game in this fourth series of the season. And then there are 2 3-game series left, all within their own league. So it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. It's clear that with this many teams and with 7 games left, competition is going to be very fierce for that last playoff spot, or maybe even the last 2 playoff spots, depending upon which league you're talking about. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I thank you very much for joining me for Sportspage 11. We have some games coming up for you on the channel. Starting game 12 tomorrow, I'm going to have to take a look and see the 3 games that we will do from game 12. And then in Sportspage 12, we will go over the second to last series of the season, who everybody's going to play in an effort to get themselves into the playoff picture or clinch a playoff picture for some of these teams. All righty. Thank you again for joining me. My name's Kurt Berglund. I appreciate you spending time with me and enjoying the Payoff Pitch Dream season. Be good to each other. We got to pull together, people. It's 2020 and it's crazy out there. Thank you again. I hope you have a good night. So long, everybody.